The new season of Paradise just premiered the other day. I wanted to come in and do like an after show where we like discuss, we talk about what we saw in the episode, we theorize what we think is going to happen. So, y'all bear with me. I've got some different notes, and obviously, I want to drive conversation with anyone who's watching live or anybody who's in the comments of the VODs. Y'all be sure to hit me up. Let me know your thoughts, how you're enjoying the show, and overall what this show like means for you. Paradise was a show that I absolutely loved last year. It really captivated and grabbed me, and there's different reasons that we'll get into for that. But for this first bit of the season, we premiered and we had 3 episodes. Now I was able to see the first episode a little bit early, so I didn't have to stay up as late when it came to watching the new episodes, because that's going to be a whole other thing I want to have a discussion with. Like, Hulu, why? I'm fairly certain the last season it didn't drop at like mid. I'm pretty sure it dropped at like 7 or 9 p.m. or something like that on like Tuesdays. Um, I much preferred that format, obviously selfishly, but I was planning, because in my mind I thought, okay, it's gonna be better for everybody if we just have these episodes drop at a normal time, and then like I could go live and do like an after show. So like I had originally planned for Paradise after show to be like a thing where we would watch the show, and then like immediately after I'd come and go live. But obviously, like with the show dropping at like midnight, I don't know if people like actually got the chance to watch it or anything like that. So like ultimately, I just decided I'm like I'm gonna give it at least like through the day. So that's one of the things that we decided to do. So I'm trying to figure out where to put this. We're just gonna put it in the middle. Yeah. So in any case, Paradise, we got the first 3 episodes, and I'm gonna just go ahead and start at number one. This message is for Angel Lakita Moore Tanksley. That chick, Angel, one of my favorite content creators and podcaster who I watch. He's on Here's the Thing podcast. Famo, I didn't realize that you were in this show. I also didn't realize that you were going to about make a man cry for sure with watching this show. I need y'all to understand. I watch this woman's podcast every week. I know that she's okay, but Angel, like without spoiling for anybody else, Angel, I watched that episode and I literally had the thought is she really okay? Is she good? You and Shailene Woodley absolutely gave a very captivating performance for that first what was it, first 20 minutes, I think, of the new season. Didn't expect to see Angel up in there, which is crazy. After I saw the episode, I went back and you can clearly see that she was in the trailer, but it didn't clock to me. It was not clocking to me. I'm just kidding. It didn't click that Angel was up in the show. And Angel plays this security guard, and then obviously she and Shailene Woodley and her character, they develop a semblance of friendship, of camaraderie. And I'm not gonna lie, again, because we're talking full on what happened. Episode one of Paradise did something really unique in that episode one painted the world for you outside over the course of the 3 years it's been since like the catastrophe happened. And the thing about Angel and Shailene's characters was that Shailene's character, she had already lost so much, and it felt like Angel's character was a new mother figure for her. And so when what happened, I just like I knew Angel. I knew when you fell down them stairs that it was probably not gonna be okay. But I held out hope stupidly. And you almost brought me to tears. I'm not even playing. I'm not even playing. So that's number one, first and last. One of the biggest things, takeaways for episode one. That chick Angel was up in the show, her and Shailene Woodley's dynamic. And then the fact that the storyline between the two of them made me care about brand new characters in the first 20 minutes. And that's like the incredible writing and just direction of Paradise. So to get back roll it back a little bit off of like the characters and more just on the show. Episode 1 of Paradise season 2, it it paints you this wonderful picture of what life has been like on the outside very quickly. It does that thing of giving you intertwining and multiple storylines, but in a digestible manner that I haven't seen a show do like this. It's a wonder. I've been trying to look more into who all is involved. Obviously, the show is created by Dan Fogelman, but you obviously have other cast and crew, other writers and things like that. I didn't look at who was writers on episode 1, but I'm gonna have to go back and do that. So, all in all, absolutely fantastic work. The episode 1, we start in Graceland, and it's the property where Elvis like had his family buy, and the whole thing is like Annie's character and Angel, just that chick Angel. How dare you? Just how dare you? My God, it got me. It got me real bad. But the show paints this picture of the outside world before catastrophe. And the thing that was so unique about that was you expect coming off of season 1 to jump right into like Xavier. We know where we left off season 1. Xavier is going after his wife. He's flying to Atlanta. We know that that's what's happening. And so the show goes ahead and says, "Hey, dial it back." Cause we know what you came for. We know that the trailers we've been talking about Xavier. We know we've been pumping up the plane crash, but pump the brakes on that real quick. Let us talk to you for a second. And the show really gets into painting the world, painting some new cast of characters, and really giving you so many stories in such a short time. I think the first episode was about an hour. Um, by the end of it, you fall in love with Shailene Woodley's character. You get introduced to Tom Doherty's character after she loses the only friend that she has in the apocalypse. And the thing about that was that trailers painted Thomas Doherty to be this big bad, right? And so the creative choice to set the tone for the outside world as like dystopian, but people are living, some people are looting, people have kind of gone bad, and to the point that like Shailene Woodley's character is dead set on being like alone, just a loner. And to go from that, and then you finally see and meet Thomas Doherty's character, who now we know is named Link. To meet him, and you immediately are like, okay, well, this is the big bad that they've been painting up. You meet him and you learn to love him. You learn to love him a little bit. And I say that because um Thomas Doherty's character, you don't see the menacingness that you saw in the trailers whatsoever. And it was so interesting to then like learn that essentially his crew and the people that he's with, the way that they put it, they were like, we're the nerds who survived the popular people. It's like the people who were smart and had the skill sets and the knowledge were the ones who ended up making it out and like finding a system and making some semblance of like a society. So it was really good. Like what they did with the relationships and these characters and the writing and the direction was a touch above nothing. Like I thoroughly enjoyed myself. I'm trying to look back at some of my notes. Um, for those of you who are joining, we're discussing Paradise season 2. We got the first 3 episodes. I'm gonna try my best to like reiterate and kind of keep this on like a schedule of like what we're talking about, especially for those who are gonna be looking back. I am getting into spoilers, but not heavily. Like I'm not gonna outright just tell you like a twist that happened or something like that, because that's not cool. Um, but in general, I think that the first episode, it is so funny to me that you expect and you're like, I want to get back to where Xavier's at. I want to get back to where Xavier Collins is and like going to try to find his wife. And Dan Fogelman in them was like, no, you're not doing that. we're gonna take a second and we're gonna learn what's happening with the world. We're gonna do world building. We're gonna introduce you to new characters. We're gonna make you love them. Um, going back to Shailene Woodley and Angel's dynamic, it was so beautiful and so painful at the same time. So Annie is the new character that we're introduced to. She had already lost so much. She lost her mom. Graceland was all she had. Um, and when it came down to her meeting Angel, Angel was the reason that she, made it to Graceland. And then all of that to be another person that she lost was just to let you know that, like, it's the telltale story of you're going to lose the people that you care about and you love. And when you get a character who you care about and you love, don't hold on to them too tightly, because they might be up out of here real soon. So it was crazy to see Angel's security guard character be another person that she lost. And then from there, she now doesn't have this trustingness in anything, because all she has is safety of Graceland. And the reason that she even trusted the security guard was because Graceland was the connection with her. So when she meets Link's people, she's like, oh, you know what I'm saying? I done seen, like, from the telescope, everybody be fighting, everybody be, you know, looting, shooting, scooting, you know what I'm saying? And so she is just like, I'm not rocking with y'all. Like, y'all done busted up in here with cars and tanks, and you know what I'm saying? Even though y'all seem nice, but how she ended up getting got, bruh, bacon. Like, can you believe that, like, she's like, my life on the line. These people have invaded where I'm living through the apocalypse, which was crazy. She survived for like 3 years. There was enough candles for all that. But yeah, she smelled bacon and she was like, man, I gotta see what that's about though. Like, they cooking bacon. That bacon was thick too. That motherfucking bacon had no business being, like, did they actually get that off of a pig? Cause it looked manufactured. It looked, well, maybe the pig that bacon came from, maybe it was affected by the nuclear plants and stuff that blew up. And so that bacon was actually mutated. I don't actually know. But the bacon was super thick. And it got Annie up out that room. And then we see a dynamic open up between her and Link. And that is where somehow I think that we're halfway through the episode and somehow we have a new storyline that you just get reinvested in, and I was with it. So, um, when it comes to Link and when it comes to Annie's character, the thing that was so interesting, when it came to Link and Annie, you have this one person who, she's not dependent on anyone for, over a year. I think we were at like day 389 or it was 689. I don't actually remember. But she hasn't depended on anyone. Whereas Link, the way that he is survived is by depending on other people, by finding people to work with and people to make it through this with. And so eventually watching that bit open up and them teaching her things, like seeing like, oh, you've been able to keep some plants alive, but here's a couple of things that you maybe need to do if you're actually going to want to survive. You want to grow food, things like that. Obviously, she's been eating nothing but beans, canned beans. That's, at this point, they spoiling. How these men had their hands on eggs, I don't really know, but that's neither here nor there. Um, Eventually, you start to get a little bit of the love story. You know what I'm saying? Link and Annie really feeling each other. Um, and this is where we went through a whole roller coaster, because I'm like, we don't watch this girl lose her mama, lose her career going into the medical field, find a new, to me, motherly figure. I don't know if it was just friendship or if it was supposed to be that, but to me, motherly figure, and then find home in this place that she gives tour guides at. And they even tap into that. only to now, like, she's trying to like reopen it back up for this new group, and she's finding herself. You ended up loving Annie so much, and then you loved that her and Link were like this. And it's crazy because again, the trailer's painting Link like he was this big bad villain, which maybe there's still time. We're only 3 episodes in. And all of that to say, spoiler alert, as this whole thing is, when she revealed that belly after Link and them had left, she decided she couldn't go with them. And then when the symbolism of she learned to grow the plants and the bell peppers had grew, or tomatoes, I don't know what they were, had grew, but so did her stomach, jaw on the floor. The jaw was on the floor. We was in that event like, oh, it sometimes it only take one time, and it only took her and Link one time, and one time was what it took, and Link don't even know. And that's crazy. Like, did she stay because she could kind of tell? Like, that don't even make sense. But sometimes it only take one time, guys. So be careful, especially in the apocalypse. So episode 1, emotional roller coaster. We get to where plane crashes. She knows that like Link and them gone to go find paradise. She's heard about the bunker over the course of this time. She hears a plane crash. She thinks only Link would know to come here with a plane. You know what I'm saying? And episode ends. That's where we finally hit it up with Xavier, right? Now, let me say this. The thing that is so interesting about the season of Paradise with these first 3 episodes is how each episode was like, you about to get these storylines that come off of what you just last saw, but at the same time, we're not really addressing fully on your time and how we got to where we getting, but we're gonna get there. The phrase that came to mind for me after watching these first 3 episodes was, that circle gonna come round full. When it comes to Paradise, it's gonna come full circle eventually. And it's on their time, and you be sitting there waiting for the shoe to drop. And then out of nowhere, it's like when you finally not thinking about it, boom, they drop it with you. And like, that's one of the things that I love about the show. So that's my phrase for this season, is it's gonna come around full circle. That circle gonna come around full. I know that might sound like it don't make sense, but it made sense to me. And so really going off of episode 2 to episode 1 to episode 2, you're like, cool, we're gonna see how Xavier got to where we just found him at the end of episode 1, or so you think. So you're sitting there, you're like, cool, the plane crashed. Obviously, she went and came to see what was going on about him when the plane crashed. So we're sitting there thinking, okay, for everybody new and joining, we're talking season 2 of Paradise. Spoilers, this is just, I want to do a live discussion for like the people who are really tapped in the show week to week. And so now we're getting to episode 2. Episode 2, we are sitting there and you're like, cool, Annie just found Xavier at the end, so we're gonna see how Xavier got here. So we finally get what we've been seeing in the marketing material. We get what we've been seeing in the trailers, and you got Xavier in the plane, right? This episode don't even end up being about that. It is about that, but it don't end up being about that. So we get the plane crash. I thought Xavier broke his leg. Apparently, it's akin to an injury he had in the past where he had dislocated his knee or something like that. His knee was out of place and he had to get it back. And the way Paradise can make an episode about the point you want to see, but then also just give you this whole other B story, but have a C and D and E story at the same time, absolutely incredible. So episode 2 is really about him and his wife. Episode 2 was really a love story more than anything because he's trying to get to his wife Terry in Atlanta. But then we're also seeing how his love for Terry runs so deep, and it's just beautiful. The tale of how, just like he has dislocated his knee right now, was exactly how he met his wife back in the hospital when he was training to be in the Secret Service. Everything comes around full circle in this show every single time. And every time they close a loop, they open a new one, but in such a unique way where you get your questions answered, but then you get new questions. And so Terry and him, the love story he had, this man just knew from the moment he saw Terry what was up. Big Xavier said, "Hey, I opened that curtain. I saw that beautiful woman. I would like to take her on a date." And he wasn't pushy, but he was direct. And I know so many ladies who was watching episode 2 was like, yeah, that's how, yeah, that smooth shit, but not creepy, but not pushy. Xavier knew, Xavier knew that was gonna be his one and his woman. And it was great the way that they portrayed that. So um my thing is, in a way that, hold on. My thing is the way that I relate to Xavier in that moment when he's in the hospital with Terry. When you take care of someone the way that he was taking care of her, even from the beginning, even from he just asked her about a coffee date and she immediately was like, my vision board, that one single date with you takes me off my trajectory. She said, one date with you is another date, and then we get married, we have some kids, but I want to be a doctor and I want to do this and I want to do that. And he was like, dang, I just asked for coffee. But from the beginning, like, I don't, and I might have missed it. She didn't say anything about her feet being cold, but he came and he put a blanket over her feet. Just that little extra bit of like care that he wanted to give her. That's one of those things, like when you have no obligation to do that for somebody, but you do, that's when you know that that love is real. And I speak from personal experience with that. My literal wife, when she was just my girlfriend, took care of me when I was in the hospital. And so when I saw the way Xavier was wanting to take care of Terry in the hospital, even though he just liked her, I was like, yeah, bro. Yeah. That was what they did was beautiful. Um, we got Bobby joining in the chat, just joining in. I made a video about exactly what you're talking about. I love this part because it's a disability love story, TBH, and we don't see that much. Yeah, 1000%. Like there was something to be said about the truth and the care that you give to somebody who you have feelings for, but it's like you don't have any type of actual obligation to that person. Like you don't have a financial, you don't have a familial. Um, again, my story with my wife, like people were like, there are people who are like this in holy matrimony that won't do what she did for you when you was in the hospital. And that's exactly what I felt and I related to in episode 2 of Paradise. So the thing about was it preach, that's a true care and paying attention to accommodations. Love that. Exactly. So episode 2 was great because while we're seeing how Xavier got to the plane crash, we're also learning why his love for his wife runs so deep. Um, even down to the fact that like she didn't want kids. And we know how the love story ends. We know how the love story ends with them because we know that they ended up getting married and having kids. But now even seeing that like everything pointed to that not happening. Everything pointed to she don't want kids, she don't want marriage or anything like that, to knowing that they have 2 children together and that he loves her so much. Like it was crazy how again we knew the end of the loop, but they took us around. They took us around and it came full circle. I'm gonna keep saying it. It came super full circle. to see how Xavier came to, you know, care for Terry the way that he does, and why he is getting on this plane going to go find her in Atlanta because he knows she's alive now. Um, another thing, uh, another thing we got to talk about episode 2. Xavier Collins got them beaters on him. Xavier Collins said he got these right here, 1 and 2, and he gonna give them to you if you mess with him in the wrong direction. You come off funny. Xavier Collins said, I got something for you. And it don't, the fact that he was squabbling up with a hurt leg, he had like re-put his knee back in place. He limping with a stick, and he said, "Doo doo doo," had a gun on my boy, and he said, headlock. Like, Xavier Collins got them beaters on him. Xavier Collins might be up there with John Wick. I don't know. I might be tripping. I might be bugging. People might say I might be exaggerating, doing too much. But Xavier Collins had a hole to head, and he said, da, and came out on top. I just, I'm gonna have to go back and watch other fights that he was in, but Xavier Collins got them beaters on him. He beat the brakes off that dude who tried to jump him for them kids. And we gonna get into them in a second because, oh my God, if I ain't ever seen a moment of fuck them kids in my life, I saw it on episode 2. Oh my goodness. So welcome anybody who's joining in. We're about 30 minutes in. We're talking about the first 3 episodes of Paradise that came out. My name is Jay Phrygian. I'm gonna be trying to do these like after show discussions as we get new episodes of Paradise. I enjoy everybody who's been hopping in the comments. Thank you. Over on YouTube. Anybody who's stopping by saying what up, I appreciate you so much. Yeah, we're just trying to go through these 3 episodes. And I'll probably like kind of open it up. If anybody wants to say anything in the chat, like feel free. Tell me like your thoughts and theories and things that you've been wondering about for the show. I'm just kind of running through all 3 episodes and like different thoughts and stuff that I noted down. I want to make this like a thing, like coming here and talking about the show with these after discussions and things like that after each episode. This one's gonna be a little longer because we obviously got 3 episodes this time, and I'm doing my best to like make it structured and everything. So I appreciate y'all. Just bear with me and whatnot. We're trying to make sure we get the clips and stuff for socials as well throughout the live stream. So I appreciate everybody who's been hopping in. We're about to get into episode 3 here in just a second. But first, there's one thing from episode 2 that I have to address, and it's them goddamn kids in episode 2 of Paradise. What the hell is going on with society outside of the bunker when it comes to the adults and the children? And I know that we'll eventually find out. We're going to understand. Everything comes full circle in Paradise and on this show. But man, Xavier came up, was helping them children. He beat the brakes off of that dude because he said that he'd been following them kids, and he was like, are you trying to take them kids to that bunker? And obviously, like, we didn't really get a lot of answers because like the kids can't really communicate. A lot of them were like real young when the apocalypse happened. It's been just them. They don't have parents. But like you just get the feeling like Xavier kept saying, like, my bag means everything. It's the way I'm gonna find my wife. It's the way I'm gonna get back to my family. And they kept on playing with fate. They kept on playing about that man's bag. And I was like, please, bro. After he saved them kids, at least we think he saved them. Them kids buried that man dead body with some mud and some sticks and leaves, some brush, if you will. And it was crazy. And I'm sitting here like, okay, they're gonna probably ditch Xavier, but like they not gonna take his stuff, right? For whatever reason, bro, them kids jacked the bag. They jacked Xavier's map. And it was at that moment I said, fuck them kids, bro. It was at that moment in Paradise I said, fuck them kids. I was so fucking pissed, bruh. That made me so mad. I was like, Xavier beat the brakes off a dude, and this what y'all gonna do to him, bruh? Come on, man. That shit made me so fucking mad, bruh. That shit made me so mad. Um, so yeah, episode 2 of Paradise, yet again, very good television. Everything just came hella full circle. It continues to come full circle. It's crazy how each episode, it was like its own story for all 3 of these episodes. They didn't feel like they fully like tied together, but at the same time, obviously they do still like build off each other. And we have to accept the fact that like some of these things are happening simultaneously. Like essentially when homegirl was on the way to the plane crash site, so she packing up a bag, she getting the horse ready, blah 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 blah. All of this happened with Xavier over the course of like a night or 2 or whatever. So, man, we get to episode 2, them kids piss me off. And then Xavier finds Annie, and that's where we get another full circle moment. You know what I'm saying? So we get that full circle moment to get to like how Xavier was at the end of episode 1. And then on that note, then we jump into episode 3. And episode 3 doesn't pick up where we left off in episode 2. Even though you wanted to, you want us to go and build off Dan Fogelman and these writers and all these people. I think Jason Wilborn was the writer for episode 2. I forgot who was the writer for episode 3. They said, oh, you thought that we was about to pick right back up where we left off. We have more story. There's been things going on at the bunker while everything's been happening. We don't know where we at in the timeline right now, but it was still good though, bro. And then episode 3 gives you everything that you want and more, bro. Let me tell you what, Paradise doing a 3-episode premiere, probably one of the smartest things that they did, because of the fact that it was like story A, B, and C with DZQFIWT all intermixed and intertwined going to 1, 2, 3. And it's like the evidence chart or whatever from the dude on that show. I don't know what it is. And people are gonna flame me for that. But there was so much story to digest in these first 3 episodes. And episode 3 had some of the greatest like quotables, had some of the greatest like moments for this show to make me be like, yeah, I'm ready, I'm set, and I want to see what's happening this season. And I honestly might have to like rewatch the episodes to see what I can catch before we get to the following week and whatnot, because there's a lot to unpack in these 3 episodes, and we're back inside the bunker now, and everything is all twisted. You know what I'm saying? Everything is twisted. Um, you got Sinatra waking up. You got, it's a new president in charge. I can't even remember his name. I'm gonna have to look it up. But he was the guy who was the president, the vice president to Cal Bradford, or whatnot. What in the heck was his name? No, not season 1. Who is the one in season 2, brother? Season 2, season 2, season 2. The new president, brother. Why? I'm never gonna find it. The new president is a chum. He's a bum. And nobody takes him serious, and he's really mad that nobody takes him serious. Henry Baines, President Henry Baines, that's who it was. Henry Baines is the new president. He's been in charge while Sinatra's been out. And the thing is that if you know Sinatra, you know that people can think they in control, but they not. Not when they come to Sinatra, bro. Not when they come to Sinatra, boy. So then we started dealing with the politics of like the bunker. And then we also start to delve into what it means that it was never just about the bunker, which we've been hearing since the very beginning of the marketing for this season. So we're getting flashbacks of Sinatra and everything. And we're talking about when Sinatra, was meeting with the scientists, she was trying to figure out and understand the apocalypse and all of that stuff. And the cool thing about this show is it now takes you back in time to when we're talking about the volcano. And then it delves into the fact that, of course, there were discussions about, okay, well, what happens after the super volcano? And what do we do after that? Because that's the real problem. While the big focus was the catastrophe and what exactly happened to the world in season one, now we're delving into the fact that, of course, there were actually discussions about what happens to the people who do survive, bunker or no bunker, people who do survive this super volcano going off and destroying like the ozone layer and creating these gases and clouds and blocking the sun and throwing the world into a crazy, winter or whatever. What happens after that? And then you really start to understand how there were deeper ramifications for Cal Bradford's choice to let off the to let off the EMPs that would set the world back 500 years, because the world was already going to be set back heavily by what came after the volcano eruption. But now you got no electricity on top of that. Insane work. And it's crazy to think that there was all these places to open up new story for the show off of just these very small and minute details in season one. So let's go back to my notes real quick. There was a really good quote in there from Scientist Boy who originally like predicted and was telling people like, hey, it's already kind of too late. Like the biggest thing you can do is dig a hole and get in. He said billionaires think money give them superpowers. But the one thing that money can't buy them is the thing that they want the most. Time. I said, okay, with the quotable. It was a crazy quotable whenever he said that. I had to write it down because I was like, yo, he's spitting bars right now because it felt like, maybe it wasn't, but some of this writing felt like it was speaking to real life. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, just because you have money, that does not mean you have the answer to everything, because it can't get you everything. It can get you most things. It can get you, as long as you have the resources and the intelligence and the right people, the money can get you a lot of things, but it can't get you everything. And that was a really good quote that I enjoyed from that episode for sure. So the thing that we get into is that Sinatra knew that there was more all along. So we're getting into why it was never just about the bunker. We're also learning, because something I forgot from episode one, they said they needed to kill Alex. And so you're like, who the fuck is Alex? There ain't been no character. There ain't been no character named Alex. Circling back to episode one, Link and his people was talking about how they had to get inside the bunker and kill Alex. So you're sitting there, you're like, who the fuck is Alex? Who is Alex? Because I went through the whole cast. I was like, who in the first season's name was Alex? What one of the billionaires? What one of the team? Who is it that like they know that's up in there that they need to get rid of? Everything comes full circle in paradise. And so we eventually get there and you think you understand, but you even still don't. Sinatra has this secret project that some people seem to know about, that's they're siphoning power for in a bunker. And we've had the allusion to the fact that it wasn't just about the bunker, because they had to also figure out how do people survive once we step outside the bunker, or once it's been X amount of years to survive for generations to come and everything. And so we learned she's got some secret project. We're diving into the past, and then we get our lovely character whom I miss, my favorite character from the first season, Billy in flashback form. He's not alive, but Billy in flashback form, we learn when Sinatra first met Billy for his services. We learn when Sinatra met Billy for his services for the first time, and that starts to get us to where Alex plays a role in this whole shebang shaboing. So the thing that was so interesting, I want you to remember where I said everything comes full circle when it comes to Paradise. When Sinatra is being like questioned or whatever, and freaking President Baines or whatever, he's like yelling and spitting in her face. It's actually gross. Like, I was mad for her because he was like, "Shut up," and like, you guys spit and everything. I was like, bro, back up, back up. Um, he was spitting in her face and all that stuff, and she goes, "Ooh, someone needs a breath mint." And I was like, huh, that's funny. She don't care. She just got done from being shot in the neck and she's still trying to crack jokes and stuff. And that whole thing is interesting too, because now it sounds like Jane says, I did what I had to do to like make sure you were clean. So now it's seeming like it wasn't about the Switch, but I'm still trying to figure out why that Nintendo, but I'm still trying to figure out why that Nintendo Switch was so important. It's neither here nor there. I think that I want to know why that goddamn is Jane crazy, or was even the Switch stuff her playing crazy? But remember what I said about full circle. So Jane makes it clear like she's still with Sinatra, that she and Sinatra like this, right? Jane tries to say that, you know, if you remember anything differently, I did what I had to do. Sinatra said that dude sounded like he need a breath mint. We seeing her and Billy in flashbacks, and Billy's like, yeah, if you ever need my services again, you just need to send me a name and a picture and I got it. She's like, dang, that's all you need? He was like, yeah, tell me they need a breath mint. Oh my God. And so now I'm like, how did Billy not know Jane from before this? Because clearly she was trained by some of the same type of people. If she knows the lingo and stuff of tell them they need a breath mint, unless that was just something that Sinatra taught her. I don't know, but that shoe dropped so casual. I didn't know what to do with myself. I said, oh, we can't even say people need breath mints now as a regular statement, because even that meant something. And they make sure to throw stuff that means something low key and you don't realize it in the time period. So it really puts you into the mode of, I gotta be paying attention when I watch Paradise, because everything they say or do means something and matters. Oh my God. Fantastic writing. Fantastic writing. Episode 3, we also see Agent Robinson is kind of starting to feel, you know, she's remembering some of the last conversation with Xavier. She's realizing she's kind of always felt something a little fishy about when Jane, you know, came and said what happened and Sinatra survived and all this stuff. So she's starting to do some investigating. And she's, you know, feeling wary of Jane specifically. You know, she's starting to look into like what Jane's past is. Jane was like discharged from like the CIA for different aggression toward other officers and all this type of stuff. So apparently her records are showing she's a crash out with a lot of redacted information, but she's always acting like this sweet innocent, oh man, I don't know what I'm doing, you know, I'm sweet innocent white girl, I'm sweet innocent white girl. One thing about Jane in Paradise is she gonna play that sweet innocent white girl bit over and over again, and it's gonna work every time. Uh, and of course, the person who ends up finally becoming suspicious of it is the black woman. And that, of course, goes exactly how you would expect it to go. You would hope that it would go better, but it doesn't, because ultimately, The writers knew, unfortunately, even in the apocalyptic world, in the bunker in paradise, this still reigns supreme. White tears reign supreme at winning the case and getting the point across and being the victor in history, because Jane gonna run them tears, and I didn't know every time, and everybody else gonna fall for it. Agent Robinson stopped falling for it, and Jane was like, bet, I knew you could tell, and we're about to deal with that. And I'm waiting on them white tears from Jane to stop fucking working, bro. Because ultimately, all I care about is, why was that Nintendo Switch so important in season one? Or was that a part of the bit all along, too? I need someone to tell me. I gotta know. Oh my God. So Agent Robinson's starting to see through her. Um, and that comes back to bite her, and we'll get into that. But um, we're learning that there's some technology. There's some technology that Sinatra wanted to get her hands on, specifically to be of use to what's outside the bunker after the volcano blows up. So we're learning she wants, this proprietary technology or ownership of this company. She can't get the guy to sign. She sends Billy to force him to sign. And you sit there and you just shake your head for Billy, because we're like, again, similar to Terry and Xavier's story, we know how Billy's story ends. And so you're like, dang, I don't want you to do this, Billy. You're better than this, Billy. Don't be like this. Don't be this for her, Billy. Don't beat a gun for her to aim, Billy. He was a gun for her to aim, though. And you know, I don't even know what was the guy's name. Let me see. I know who he's played by. Hold on. No, bitch. Where the guy was, he's alive for like one episode. Is it Eric Wynn? No. New tech guy, Paradise. Let's see, where is he? Sorry, I'm gonna find his name. No, brother. Paradise season 2 episode 3. Losing the plot a little bit. I need to know who that dude was. I know that actor, but I can't remember his name, brother. Alex Husband, Paradise season 2. What is this nigga's name? Henry Miller. Okay. Henry Miller, played by Patrick Fischler. Patrick Fischler. That's what his name is. Hold up. All right, so Patrick Fischler is up in this season of Paradise, bro. He plays Henry Miller. Henry Miller has got access to some type of technology or information that Sinatra needs for outside of the bunker after everything goes down, to help humanity along the line. He's like, I'm not signing it over. Billy, you can come to my address. Funny enough, it was like 1963 Bluff Avenue or something like that. Bluff Avenue something. It was funny that it was Bluff. And Billy goes and he's like, before you kill me, yo, this is my wife. She's been sick. We stopped traveling. Remember, I was telling you about this brilliant kid, about 10 years younger than me. He actually understands like our technology and what we're working on almost as good, if not better than we do. And he's like, this guy's like a son to me. And you're like, keep on mentioning this kid who's not his kid because they couldn't have kids. Man, I'm just got a feeling I know where this is going. Had a feeling I knew where it was going. And then he said some things that I believe are going to become more important. Henry Miller, what was his name? Henry Miller in episode 3 of Paradise season 2 says something really important that I know is going to matter throughout the rest of the season. And it's, do you believe everything happens for a reason? He continually talks about how, do you think that everything and every action that you do all aligns for you to be exactly where you're supposed to be? Like whether that's a good outcome or a bad outcome. His wife always said, you're worried about 50% of rain, but you know what 50% of rain means? That also means that there's 50% of sunshine. Two sides to the same coin, the positive, the negative, glass half empty, glass half full. And he says that he feels like everything has aligned for Billy to be exactly where he is in this moment. And so for that, he's going to need to take this tissue. He's going to need to take this. You're going to need this. You're going to need this to wipe up after. Because he's like, I know what's coming. He just said, I'm going to see my wife soon. He injected something into her intravenously. So he knows that she's cooked. And he says, goodbye, Alex. I thought that the crew from episode 1 needed to kill Alex. I thought Alex was someone inside the bunker. What do you mean Alex has been dead since before Paradise existed? And now I'm like, wait a minute. Alex, this guy, crew from episode 1 said we need to kill Alex. Oh my God, the kid he's been talking about's gotta be Link. And as soon as Billy, he said that you will walk into that boy before you leave this house. Please let him live. Look into his eyes and let him go. He turned the corner and Link's right there, clean shaven, just like his college ID picture that he gave Annie. Oh my God. I was like, everything comes full circle in this goddamn gone show. Everything comes full circle. And for them to give us those 3 episodes so that you could go from who we met in episode 1 and little things that they said there to get a reveal in episode 3 that still didn't really reveal anything. Because now you just have more questions. And that is why this show is so good. And that is why I want to do these after show live streams, because God dang it, the writing is incredible. And I just want to understand how they do it. It was so good. That reveal that it wasn't even a huge reveal, but it was enough of a reveal to be like, oh, the tone is set for this season. Oh my God. Paradise is so good. Paradise is so good. And then the other thing being that, back to full circle, homegirl said he needs a breath mint. We learned Billy said, just tell me they need a breath mint. President went out for a run. He said he's tired of running around with these brutes, all these big burly men, Secret Service agents. But Jane says, I'll go with you. Like, why is Jane going alone with him? Jane's also been kissing up to him a lot. Trying to understand why. We learn why. Because then when the flashback, when he says, tell me they need a breath mint. And you remember Sinatra said someone needs a breath mint. Right in front of fucking Jane. Spoiler alert, if you've watched this far, you should know. We got another president gone by the end of episode 3, bro. President Baines, he out of here. He gone to be with him. And Jane did it because Sinatra said he needed a breath mint. And now I'll never look at the phrase, do you need a breath mint, the same again. And then she called with the white tears immediately. Well, actually, first she sees that Agent Robinson has asked about her location. And she peeps that Agent Robinson is on the way. God damn it, bro. God damn. Agent Robbins pull up. She see the president down. She know Jane was the last one with him. Agent Robinson go to help the president. and Jane come up behind her, sneak her ass, and we already know how this gonna go. Jane pull out the white tears on the phone. The president is down. It was Agent Robbins. I knocked her out. President is down. Brother, the thing that frustrated me about that is you were the only one on his detail. And then they asked where your whereabouts were, but she asked because she didn't know, and they said she's with the president. So how did she get past you to get to the president? And people are really going to believe that. But people are going to believe that because it is going to be a showcase of white tears and using those white tears to ultimately frame the black woman. And I know that they've done that for a reason, and it's going to be something that's not going to sit right with a lot of people, especially in Black History Month. But we're going to let you rock because you know what? Y'all haven't let us down with this show yet. And I'm going to hope that this is not an Angel's security guard character situation and this black woman is going to live, because that whole thing hurt me, especially Black History Month. So Agent Robinson, hopefully she's good, but for right now, white tears got Agent Robinson on Public Enemy #1 tagged list. And that's where we're at. That's where season 2 so far kind of like is. Agent Robinson starting to see through Jane, but she hadn't been able to tell nobody. Xavier wants to go find Terry. He finds out his instruments have taken him the complete wrong direction, and he's in Arkansas instead of Georgia. Annie's like, you're taking me back to paradise. He's like, I need to go find my wife. Fuck them kids. Where is my bag? Type shit. And then in the bunker, we have chaos ensuing because Sinatra is now gonna come back to power. She's gonna be like, oh man, the president. And we need to learn what all those layers are underneath paradise, because there's also a secret prison that they've been taking anybody who's protesting. It very much feels akin to everything going on right now in the United States with ICE and the current administration, but that's neither here nor there. So yeah, there's a lot of good stuff happening in the show. We got to figure out what Alex is, because Alex is clearly not a person, but a project. And in general, I'm feeling like I need to rewatch some of the episodes to just like really dive into like theories and talk with everybody. So in general, that's kind of like my recap and thoughts on season 2 of Paradise so far. We got 3 episodes, so this was a bit of a longer stream. I'm going to be trying to do this every week that a new episode drops. Since they drop at midnight on Sunday, like Sunday to Monday morning, I'm probably not going to be doing them immediately after. My original plan was like watch the episode, thinking it was coming out at like 7 or 8. Watch the episode, come and do an after show live stream. Because they're coming out at midnight the day before, I'm gonna probably do this strategy of, I went ahead and did this one a little early just to feel the temperament on talking spoilers so soon after. And again, this is for people to come back to at a later date as well, for sure. So y'all let me know in the comments if you're watching like the live stream VOD. Did you enjoy having this to go to like very soon after the episode? Did you not get to it until a couple of days after? Should I maybe wait a little bit? Because I want to be like on top of having the discussions and the theories and the talk, but I obviously don't want to just get into spoiler talk so soon that like people don't want to watch. So that's what I have to say about that. Real quick before we go, if anyone has any comments, let me know. If you've got personal theories about what you think is going to happen this season. I think one question that I have, let me see. Hold on, I'm gonna record this real quick. One question I have about this season is what exactly is happening with specific people while they're outside in the real world, as far as like these headaches and nosebleeds. Because currently it feels like Xavier, for example, is having like visions of Link, even though he's never met him, at least from what we know or understand. So it's very interesting. Or is it just the fact that they're just showing us Link when these happen and he's not actually seeing him? The way that it's portrayed seems like he's getting these visions of him. And I want to understand what that is. Is something about the outside world actually like doing something to people's heads? And are we about to get into a thing where like science bitch type stuff is like connecting people's minds? Cause like I'm very confused by that. Or is it whatever's going on in the outside world allowing people to see the future? Is that what it is? Or are we just seeing Link because Link is also getting the headaches and it's just us seeing that and Xavier is not seeing it whatsoever? That's one question that I've had, been a little bit confused about. Other theory that I have, is that there is some other player within the bunker that is outside of Sinatra's control that we just still haven't met yet. Cause it feels like the team has like insider information or like an inside person. I thought that that was maybe Jane, but now Jane seems like she is aligned with Sinatra because it sounded like she had other loyalties at the end of last season, but now it sounds like she is aligned with Sinatra. She just was like doing what she had to do to keep everything undercover. I'm curious on what everyone else thinks and what your theories are for this new season because we got plenty to unpack even just in these first 3 episodes. So let's just go ahead and get into it down in the comments. So this was great. This was a lot of fun. I did a lot of talking. I had a drink. I had a whole drink and I don't even know what I did with it. I had a Fanta that I was going to be using to drink while I did this. And I put it down somewhere and totally forgot. But in any case, this was a fun live stream. Thank you to everybody who came through over on the YouTube. I know we had a couple of people come through. I don't know if comments weren't showing up at all. But if for any reason like you were commenting and I didn't see, I do apologize. I didn't see anything come up, but we have some stuff just not flipping work when it comes to the live streams, especially trying to do like the dual streams or whatever. But Paradise season 2 is out now. I got this little lantern from going to the event or whatever in LA. So Paradise season 2 out now. We're going to be getting in some more discussions and deep dives. You can check out the YouTube shorts where I'll be talking about it. I just got to find time to actually record those and edit anything that we got clipped today. It's going to be a problem trying to edit because I just don't have time. I got work in the morning. But in any case, this is a fun live stream. I appreciate everybody who came through. And if you are checking out the VOD, I'm going to try to trim off the beginning and the fat. So that way you just have the condensed like chat and talk about each of the episodes. So thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate it. And I will catch you next week where we talk about season 2 Paradise on Hulu.